In many ways, being able to round decimals is more important than being able to round whole numbers. Why? Because sometimes decimals behave really badly. Sometimes decimals just keep going forever. We'll see more about that later on. Rounding decimals is also really, really nice because we don't need to fill in zeros after the decimal point. The process for rounding decimals is exactly the same as the process for rounding whole numbers, but we describe it in different ways. We might describe rounding a decimal using the same sort of language we use for whole numbers, by saying what place value. So for example, we might round 3.141592 to the nearest hundredth. Notice this TH on the end. That TH on the end, giving it what's called the ordinal name instead of the cardinal name. This TH on the end is our cue that we're dealing with a decimal place value rather than a whole number place value. There are two disadvantages that we have when we're looking at place values to the right of the decimal point. The first one is we don't get any commas to the right of the decimal point. Our decimal digits are just all piled up together. Sometimes you'll see them written with a space every group of 4 digits, but that is not helpful in finding your place values. The second problem is that there's a little bit of weirdness where the first place after the decimal point is the tenths place, not the oneths place, whatever that would be. There's no such thing. There is no oneths place. Why? Why do we do this to you? Well, it does make sense. As we go to the right, each place is 10 times as small. So, if this is the ones place, well, just to the right of that, 10 times as small as that, is 1/10. So, ones place, 1/10ths place, 100ths place. If you're in doubt, if we want to find the hundredths place, 100, that's a 1 followed by 2 zeros. We just count the zeros. 2 zeros. That's how many places we want to go after the decimal point. So this 4 is in the hundredths place. We look at the next digit, it's a 1. Our options are 3.14 or 3.15. The 1 tells us that we want 3.14. Let's see one more example. One where we might actually need the help. Suppose we wanted to round this number, which I'm not going to pronounce, to the nearest 10,000th. Now I could find the 10,000ths place by just naming off the places, but that's going to be a mouthful, so I want to use my trick. Alright, so I'm going to write down 10,000. Right. I'm writing down a whole number, so my friends the commas can help me. And now I count 4 zeros, which means I want 1, 2, 3, 4 digits after the decimal point. This is my place I'm going to round to. Look at the next digit. That's more than 5. So I want to round up. the 4.392 stays. I'm rounding up, so 7 goes up to 8. Okay, so that's describing decimal rounding using the same language we use for whole number rounding. There are two other ways we can describe decimal rounding. The second way that we describe decimal rounding is by referring to how many decimal places. That means we're saying how many digits do we want after the decimal point. For example, we might want to round 835.9764315 to 2 decimal places. That means we want 2 digits after the decimal point. Okay, now we follow exactly the same rounding process as before. We look at the next digit. It's more than 5, so I'm going to round up. That 7 will go up to an 8. Everything before the 7, we just copy it. 835.98. Notice in our answer we have 2 digits after the decimal point. The last way that we might describe decimal rounding is by saying round to the nearest whole number, or we might say to the nearest integer. We'll meet the integers later on. But as a rounding instruction, this means the same thing. What does it mean? It means that we're going to round so there's nothing after the decimal point. We're going to round to the ones place, or you might be used to calling it the units place. For example, if we want to round 13.24 to the nearest whole number, well, that means we want to round to the units place. Next digit is a 2, so we want to round down. We just get 13. Notice this result is a whole number. When we round to the nearest whole number, we want to end up with a whole number.